This country is in a revolution. They're sick and tired of what they're getting, and I happen to be lucky enough to be part of it.
It has been said that when in the course of human events, an oppression so revolts its subject that it becomes necessary to alter or abolish the means of that tyranny. Is it that time when our Bill of Rights is defiled every day? When our adventures abroad threaten our security at home? When the Federal Reserve keeps our free nation enslaved by debt? When the people of the world tremble under the thumb of corporate imperialism? And now, our nation is drifting dangerously from freedom to fascism. So I have to ask, is it time?
And now, from the luxurious albino raccoon recording studios located in the Midwestern heart of America, it's the Last Voice for Liberty Network. And here is your host, The Mouth.
Greetings and salutations to all my fellow patriots. It is time. The Last Voice for Liberty Network back on the air. I am, of course, your host, The Mouth, laughing and scratching at you on this 30th day of January 2013. Got some big things going on today. I'm actually going to be on another internet radio show tonight, Guerrilla Radio with Austin Thomas and the Liberty Girl. That is on Freedomizer Radio, freedomizer.com, or on Blog Talk Radio. You can find it. You can call in and see if you want to argue with me or not. Going to be talking with those guys tonight about gun control and several other things. I believe the creator or founder of WorldTruth.org is going to be on tonight as well. And we're just going to have a good discussion. I hope people all tune in tonight. That's going to be between, let's see, what is it, 3 to 5 Mountain Time, I believe, is the time that's going to be on. So I've got to do a little bit of math and check my curse. I've been told I have to no F-bombs will be tolerated. And so I'm getting the impression that maybe sometimes I might use that word a little bit too often. But see, here on my show, I can say these things when I want to, because it just happens when I get mad. I don't want anybody to misconstrue the concept that I have to use these words to get my point across, or that I'm so out of control that I can't control using the F word. So with that being said, we're going to get on to our I hope everybody tunes in tonight. Yeah, too bad you're not going to be there. How about it? Yeah, you'd be perfect. I'm sure just everybody loves to hear movie quotes all night long.
Are you saying there's something wrong with my gear?
Anyway, folks, what we're going to talk about today is,
You dick!
I don't know how many of you have forgotten about Benghazi already. I know I haven't. I know it's a complete, it's a mess. It's just a big mess over there. And the whole reason that is because they're trying to hide the truth of what they're doing, which is getting ready to start war in Africa. And conquest of the Dark Continent is important and vital as a big country nowadays, because China is taking active interests in the land and the resources in Africa at this point in time. They've already bought and purchased land across Uganda, which has one of the largest oil reserves. What do you think that whole big Coney thing 2012 was? They're trying to get support for us to send troops into Uganda. Okay? Uganda, however you want to do it. Kamala's there, he'll probably eat you. Fact of the matter is, folks,
You guys are retarded.
war is their biggest money maker next to raping us for taxes. And, hey, that's not coming around. So that's why Barack Obama came out and said that he's going to grant, amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants.
You are one pathetic loser.
They're searching for more revenue, folks. This is what they're after. When those who get in these seats of inscrutable power and money get put there, and they get a taste of that, and they get addicted to it, which is a way that 90% of our elected officials have gotten, folks, they just keep wanting more, and they're going to keep trying to get more and more and more. And what do you do if you are a complete and utter treacherous and treasonous failure of a president, so much so that only 62% of eligible voters even bother to go vote because they're so disenfranchised by government in general? What do you do, especially if you want have grand plans for being the next FDR and scooching yourself into a third term, which is clearly what they're talking about. The alternative the Democratic Party is talking about for 2016. Oh boy, we're going to talk about that today as well. But what do you do when you're Barack Obama? Oh, let's create 11 million new voters that will vote for me, because I made them Americans. I'll give them all this bribe. So that when I want to make my push for it, I'll have 11 million votes right there. That'll add to my... That way I can win the popular vote next time. He didn't win the popular vote, which is sad because Mitt Romney's about as popular as bubblegum on the bottom of your shoe.
Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
I mean, even my hardcore Republican friends out there have got to agree with me that Mitt Romney is no kind of candidate for president. He never was, dude. He was...
Settle down, Beavis.
He was this paper copy. Barack Obama was the white piece of paper. Mitt Romney was the black piece of paper. Guess what was written on the piece of paper, folks? The same thing. The same thing.
I am the smartest man alive!
That's why the Republican Party pushed him, the candidate that had a real chance with reaching people and getting the message of liberty out was Ron Paul. Waking people up to what their constitutional rights are and how the government is treading on them was Ron Paul. And the RNC deliberately kept him from doing that. That's why they put Mitt Romney up there. This is all intentional. This is it. I know it's a bad movie. It's a shitty movie, to be quite honest. One of the worst I've ever seen. But yet, it's reality to us. And the more that, that's why they keep politicizing and these events and scandals with movie-type names like Fast and Furious. So then when you start bringing up Fast and Furious, the scandal, in serious conversation with people, then most of them go, oh, I don't like Vin Diesel. I don't like Paul Walker. I don't like those guys. They're horrible actors. I'm not going to watch that movie. Why did they make 5 of them? Wasn't wrecking those cars in the first one enough. Wasn't enough bad acting done in the first one to suffice. And then he had to bring The Rock in here. Oh,
know your role and shut your mouth.
That's all they know. That's how dumb people are getting. That's why they do these certain things. They're going to come up with some sort of, let's see if we can post this on. No, nobody will remember it. They'll just think it's that damn Vin Diesel movie called Fast and Furious.
Let me tell you why I suck.
Well, we're going to talk about another scandal today, another little piece of history that people are forgetting about, and with Benghazi and Hillary's bullshit testimony and opening statement to members of Congress, and her trying to act all mad and like, oh, she really gives a crap. The only thing she gives a crap is keeping her ass out of a sling.
Don't tell anybody I'll kill you!
We're going to talk to you a little bit today about the Whitewater scandal, folks. This is something that doesn't get brought up a whole lot, but it needs to be proven out because it points out a character in what's going on. Now, the Whitewater scandal, for those of you kids who don't know, a little bit younger, weren't alive or conscious of government at that point in time, refers to a real estate controversy that was involving former President Bill Clinton and his wife. Now, in 1978, when Bill Clinton was the Attorney General of Arkansas, he and his wife had partnered with James and Susan McDougal to purchase 220 acres of land that would become the Whitewater Development Corporation. Now, this venture failed, of course, and it cost the Clintons a reported $40,000 in losses. James McDougal subsequently entered the banking industry, forming the Mass and Guarantee Savings and Loan. excuse me. I wanted to bring up this story because we're going to go through the timeline of the drama known as Whitewater, and we're going to let you decide whether or not this type of the way that this was handled and the depths to which that these people will try and keep themselves in power and the subterfuge that they use needs to be. This should be correlated right along with whether or not you're going to let this woman continue to lie. We're going to go over her transcription from her opening comments to Congress before she testified, and there's no solutions in it. It's just, we're doing this, we're going to implement programs, we're implementing these security things, we're implementing this, we're implementing that. It's all about what we're doing. It's not about what the hell happened. Why were they there? What was going on? What's the big deal? None of that. She wasn't going to answer any of that. And you know damn well she wasn't. That makes us all, conspiracy theorists are going to be out there saying this and this and this and that. But the fact of the matter is that military leaders were coming out afterwards saying, hey, generals, we got the order to stand down. We were told to stand down. You told them to stand down. That has to come from either you or Barack Obama. So it's one of you two, and both of you is about as crooked as my middle finger. But the drama known as Whitewater had a definitive starting point, and that was that land purchase we just told you about in 1978. But it took a complicated course ever since, okay? Now, the Arkansas Attorney General in 1978, at that time, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, joined with James B. and Susan McDougal. James B. McDougal and Susan McDougal, remember these names, to borrow $203,000 to buy 220 acres of land in Arkansas' Ozark Mountains. They soon formed the Whitewater Development Corporation, and they were intending to build vacation homes. But then Clinton got elected as governor that year. Now, in 1980, he lost his re-election bid, and then again entered private legal practice. Now, James McDougal, who briefly served as Governor Clinton's economic development director, quit the government to buy a small bank in Kingston, Arkansas, where he loaned $30,000 to Hillary Clinton to build a model house on a Whitewater lot. In 1982, McDougal then bought a small savings and loan company and named it Madison Guarantee. Now, after 2 years as a private citizen, Clinton got once again elected as governor, which happens in a lot of states. They'll go, well, shit, this guy's bad, and we don't want Clinton because we know he's a crooked, SOB. So we're going to go with this other guy. And then the other guy turns out to be just as bad, if not worse, than Clinton. And I couldn't tell you that guy's name. I don't care, frankly. But Clinton once again got elected the governor. Now, in 1984, we're going to skip forward a couple of years, federal regulators begin to question the financial stability and lending practices of Madison Guarantee, criticizing that Madison's speculative land deals and insider lending and hefty commissions paid to the McDougals and others. Clinton, re-elected governor of Arkansas. Now, James McDougal in 1985, the very next year, holds a fundraising event at Madison Guarantee to help pay off a $50,000 Clinton campaign debt. Investigators later determined that some of the money was improperly withdrawn from depositor funds. So these people are into some shady business practicing nonetheless. Now, so when you're into shady business practice, you got to get yourself a shady lawyer or a shady law firm to help cover your shady ass. So who does he hire? McDougal goes out that year and hires the Rose Law firm, where Hillary Clinton happens to be a partner, to do legal work for the Alien Savings and Loan. Now, Hillary Clinton and another Rose lawyer seek state regulatory approval for recapitalization plans for Madison. Next year, in 1986, McDougal borrows $300,000 from a company owned by David Hale. He's a former Little Rock judge. Now, Hale's company receives federal funds from the Small Business Administration to lend to disadvantaged business owners. But in an investigation that happened 10 years later alleges that he lent up to $3 million to political figures instead. Citing improper practices that year, federal regulators removed McDougal as Madison Guaranty's president, but he retains ownership.
That's fucked up.
This is starting to get pretty thick right here, folks. What I just told you was that David Hale, former Little Rock judge, his company was supposed to receive federal funds from the Small Business Administration to lend to disadvantaged business owners. Okay, disadvantaged. I don't see how McDougal is disadvantaged when you've got Hillary Clinton for a lawyer and Bill Clinton for the governor of Arkansas for a buddy. You're not disadvantaged, bud. You're pretty much plugged into any type of help you want. Now it's alleging that he lent up to $3 million to political figures instead of businesses. Political figures instead of businesses. They were building their puppet army. Here, we're going to pay you off. And it's payoff money, dude. It's bribe money. That's what it is. He lent them up to $3 million. That's why this boils down once again to what I was talking to about term limits and campaign donations. Okay? These big people that are making these big giant donations, they're not making donations, folks. They're making fucking investments. Investments to get shit done that they want done. Okay? Get their little perks. Obviously, you're going to lend up to $3 million to political figures. Lend up to $3 million to political figures. That means you're getting some back in return, and it damn sure isn't going to be money. Or maybe it is, because you get that political figure locked into an office where he gets paid for life, then maybe you are making a smart investment. In 1988, witnesses from the Rose law firm say Hillary Clinton requested the destruction of Madison land contract files. She didn't want everybody to see these things. She wanted them to be destroyed. Why? Because she was tied up in it.
You motherfucker!
Hillary Clinton writes James McDougal to ask for power of attorney to sell off remaining Whitewater lots and clear up bank obligations. Now, the next year, Madison Guaranty collapses after a series of bad loans and a change in government accounting procedures, and the federal government shuts it down and then spends $60 million bailing it out.
People like this are a menace to decent society.
That drives me crazy.
I used to be temporarily insane. I'm just stupid.
They spent $60 million bailing out, paying off the people that they supposedly made these fraudulent deals with.
I've been hornswoggled.
That doesn't make any sense. It seems like those people that were in charge of that company should be forced to pay restitution, even if it amounts to $60 million. Better get your ass to work. Start shoveling.
Yeah!
That year also, James McDougal was indicted on federal fraud charges related to his management of a Madison real estate subsidiary. In 1990, lo and behold, when indicted on federal fraud charges and your buddy's getting up there in the political stature, a.k.a. Bill Clinton, this comes 1990, what happens to you? Do you spend jail time? No, you're acquitted. He didn't do anything wrong, he's my buddy. Besides, he knows all the wrong shit I did. 1992, the Clinton presidential campaign gathers information on Whitewater and Madison Guaranty. Now, a report commissioned by the campaign claims that the Clintons lost $68,000 on Whitewater. Now, an estimate later adjusted down to somewhat over $40,000. Being fraudulent to begin with, folks. Claiming that we lost $68,000, but it's just a little bit over 40. Now, the Federal Resolution Trust Corporation, or the RTC, investigating causes of Madison's failure, sends a referral to the Justice Department that names the Clintons as potential beneficiaries of illegal activities at Madison. No wonder Hillary Clinton wanted things destroyed. No wonder she wanted James McDougal to give her power of attorney to sell off the remaining Whitewater lots and clear up all these bank obligations so then people would shut up about it. Her husband was about to run for president. Can't have this. Can't have it. In January 1993, of course, President Clinton was elected and his first term began. And we move forward on to May, and the White House fires 7 employees in the travel office. Possibly, as speculation goes to make room for these Clinton friends. And an FBI investigation ensues, allegedly opened under pressure from the White House, to justify these firings. So they're going to fire all these people, and then they're going to tell the FBI to investigate it as a publicity stunt. The FBI most likely didn't file too much of an investigation, but a few diligent officers did. Deputy White House Counsel Vince Foster, just the next month later, in June of 1993, filed 3 years of delinquent Whitewater corporate tax returns. There you go. It was Vince Foster who could have tied it all together. Vince Foster knew, had the evidence that showed just exactly what kind of criminals we had just elected into the White House. July of 1990, this was in June of 1993 when he filed these 3 years of delinquent Whitewater corporate tax returns. July of 1993, Vince Foster is found dead in the Washington area park. What? Police are ruled to death suicide, folks. What? It's too hard to swallow. I heard too much and did too much research on the Vince Foster's death to even say what competently and with any confidence that it was a suicide, because it wasn't. Yeah! Federal investigators weren't allowed access into Foster's office immediately after the discovery of his body, but the White House aides entered Foster's office shortly after his death, giving rise to the speculation that files were removed from his office. You know they were, folks. That's why he was killed.
You're a smart motherfucker. That's right.
If he was alive and come back and found those files missing, you know you're going to fuck bling, bling, bling. He's calling everybody. Go on to September that year, first of the 3 meetings in which the Treasury Department officials tip off Clinton aides about the progress of the RTC investigation. So now they're tipping them off on what the prosecutors are looking at. RTC's criminal referral is then subsequently in October rejected by Paula Casey, the U.S. attorney in Little Rock, and of course a former law student of Bill Clinton. December of that year, we go on, the White House agrees to turn over whatever Whitewater documents to the Justice Department. Now, of course, that we've had, 3.5, 4 months to go through them and take out what we don't want you to see, or edit what we want. Now, these documents include some of the files that federal investigators found in Foster's office. We've been been trying to subpoena them for a long time. I'm trying to put it right. But then they just wait 4 months and, okay, now you can have them. Are you kidding me, folks? We're going to hold on to them for 4 months, look through them, and take out whatever we don't want you to see. Then you can have them. Is this allowed in the real world? Is this allowed in legality? Is this a possibility?
Newman, you magnificent bastard, you did it!
How do we not have investigators or detectives or law enforcement officials out there that are going to stand there? Wait a minute, dude. That's pretty fucking fishy.
Yeah.
Hang on. You can't do this. January 1994, Attorney General Janet Reno names New York lawyer and former U.S. Attorney Robert B. Fisk as a special counsel to investigate the Clintons' involvement in Whitewater. So, of course, Janet Reno, who's appointed by Bill Clinton, all of a sudden decides who the lawyer is going to be to investigate the Clintons' involvement in this. Well, why not? It's all about who you know and who you blow there in Washington. And good Lord, Bill Clinton puts Janet Reno up as Attorney General. And then she gets to name the lawyer who investigates his supposed scandal. You really think that that's not biased? Really? Come on, folks.
You two are just dumber than a bag of hammers.
We're going to skip down a little bit here to August 5th of 1994, folks, when a U.S. Court of Appeals panel refuses to reappoint Fisk as a special counsel, citing a possible conflict of interest, really because he was appointed by Clinton's Attorney General, Janet Reno. That's when Kenneth Starr come in, former federal appeals court judge and U.S. solicitor who worked in the Reagan and Bush administrations. So we'll bring in another guy. Now this guy just wants to get the Clintons because he wants to make the Democrats look like the jerks that they are. But he's also there trying to find the truth, and that was an important thing at that moment in time, I think, was that Kenneth Starr was actually out to find the truth. The media was trying to demonize him up one side and down the other, you know, telling him, everybody, that, oh, he's just trying to get him, he's just trying to split up their family and leave. And of course, the Monica Lewinsky matter that come in and all that other stuff. But he succeeded Fisk as the independent counselor to investigate Whitewater, Madison matters. He reissued the subpoenas for the documents, such as the Rose billing records of Miss Hillary Clinton, which is important to know. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on The Last Voice from Liberty Network.
It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that no more could ever do. I've blessed the rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Wild dogs cry out in the night as they go restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become. It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I've blessed the rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Hurry, boy, she's waiting there for you. It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I've blessed the rains down in Africa. I've blessed the rains down in Africa. Bless the rains down in Africa. Bless the rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to do the things we never had. Obama.
You got Obama phone?
Yes, everybody in Cleveland, low minority, got Obama phone. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
He gave you
He
a
gonna
phone.
do more.
How do he give you a phone?
You sign up if you on food stamps, you on Social Security, you got low income, you disability.
I have a question. Okay, what's wrong with Romney again?
Romney, he sucks. Bad.
I'm here trying to get some Obama bucks. That's what I'm doing, trying to get some Obama money.
I ain't here to get some benefits, you know what I mean? I'm here to get a check.
Bitch, I want a check.
Tell me why you like Obama.
Because he gives me stuff.
Who are you going to vote for in this election?
Obama.
Why?
Because he's black.
So what do you get from the government? Tell me everything you get from the government.
All I get, stamps, public assistance, Medicaid. We call it money in the pocket. We call it money in the pocket.
What kind of benefits are you getting?
Oh, let's see. Whatever the hell they got to offer, like, I don't even know. They ain't like they got a checklist, like, nigga, we gonna offer you this, this, and that. I'm just here to get what I can get.
Food stamps, it's just food. It's like food.
When was the last time you actually worked?
We say about half a decade.
But you're a perfectly healthy young man. Why aren't you working right now?
Because my background. Once you go to jail, it's hard to get a job.
Why should I help you? Why should my tax dollars be going to you?
Only because my ancestors came here and helped build this place.
What do you mean?
My ancestors, the slaves.
How many kids do you have?
I have 5.
How many mothers?
4 baby mamas.
4 baby mamas? Do you really want to work, or you just want to get a free check?
I just want to get a free check.
I start with my little mortgage and, you know, paying my lights and gas bill. So thank you, Barack Obama. We love you.
Actually, right now I'm homeless. I stay with my grandmother, and I'm trying to get a place of my own.
People started lining up as early as midnight out here, and you can see right now thousands of people lined up both outside Cobo Hall, snaking around the building. Same goes for inside, huge lines everywhere. But the real chaos this morning was at the front entrance inside near the ballroom, where people were waiting to get an application. Reports of fights this morning and nearly a stampede. Chaos at Cobo. Thousands of people lined up to pick up applications for housing assistance.
No organization whatsoever. When we got down here this morning at 5:30, it was calm. But then a mass of people started coming in around 7:30, and they like took over. They pushed me down.
Near the front of the line, too many people crammed into too tight a space, waiting for the doors to the ballroom to open.
This is ridiculous. People falling out, fighting. This is crazy. This is really crazy. It ain't worth all this.
Today is the deadline for applications to be postmarked in the mail or be dropped off at Cobo Hall, but most people are here just to pick up applications and get them filled out.
This is a travesty. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
The city has to take accountability for what's going on. That's the problem with the city of Detroit. No one wants to take accountability. No one wants to organize things like this. This didn't have to happen like this.
People out here absolutely furious as to how this was handled this morning, and they have every right to be. There were several ambulances that have been out here treating people for medical attention. Many people were passing out this morning because of the huge crowds inside. Now, we just got an update from City Hall. They say if you are not down here, do not come down here.
Early Wednesday for this. Her emotions ran high following Obama's speech.
It was the most memorable time of my life. It was a touching moment because I never thought this day would ever happen. I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's gonna help me.
And that's a fact.
Let's go to the audio sound bites this week. Here's a portion of Ken Rogolsky reporting on WJR in Michigan. 2 people here in line for Obamacare. Why are you here?
To get some money.
What kind of money?
Obama money.
Where's it coming from?
Obama.
And where did Obama get it?
I don't know. His stash. I don't know. I don't know where he got it from. But he giving it to us to help us. We love him. That's why we voted for him.
Every day to see how she was doing, but every time I called her,
I sure did, and I filled it out, and I am waiting.
Yo, who was that?
See what the result's gonna be.
Well, you know today how much money you're getting?
No, I won't, but I'm waiting for a phone call.
From?
I believe it's from the,
got what I need.
Where did they get it from?
But you say he's just a friend.
And where did Obama get the funds?
Just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need.
Downtown Detroit, Ken Rogolsky, WJR News. Let me put this in perspective.
So I came to her college on a surprise visit. See my girl, who was so exquisite. It was a school day, I knew she was there. The first semester of the school year. I went to the gate to ask where was her door. made me fill out a visitor's form. He told me where it was and I was on my way to see my baby doll. I was happy to say I arrived in front of the dormitory. Yo, can you tell me where is door 3? They showed me where it was. For the moment, I didn't know that I was in for such an event. So I came to a room and I opened the door. Oh, snap, guess what I saw? A fella tongue kissing my girl on the mouth. My heart was so in shock, my heart went down south. So please listen to the message that I send. Don't ever listen to a girl who says she just has a friend. But just bust this.
And welcome back, folks, to the Last Voice for Liberty Network. I am your host, the Mouth, laughing and scratching at you. We're back here today talking about the Whitewater scandal, which, you know, a lot of you kids out there might be a little bit too young. A lot of you new voters might not have ever heard of it and might not have been able to grasp what exactly the concept of it was. Now, when we left off, we were at August 5th, 1994, when Kenneth Starr was first appointed as the, prosecuting attorney in this Whitewater scandal matter and the Whitewater-Madison matters. He had just reissued the subpoenas for documents, especially Rose Billing Records, the Rose law firm that one Hillary Clinton worked for. We go on to January of next year, in 1995, when the Democratic majority on the Senate Banking Committee released a report finding that no laws were broken in the Whitewater matter. What a surprise. The Democratic majority also, no, he didn't break any laws, because we're making up the laws as we go.
Well, allow me to retort.
We go on to April that year, and a much hyped and much broadcast media thing, so it's not like they didn't have time to prepare or anything like that, but Kenneth Starr interviews the Clintons privately. Now, in July of 1995, the Senate Special Whitewater Committee, that was chaired by Republican Alphonse D'Amato, began hearings on Whitewater and on Foster's suicide. D'Amato was also the chairman of Republican Bob Dole's presidential campaign. These hearings lasted for 11 months, folks. There was a lot of argument about these things going on between Democrats and Republicans on either side, because to me, and this is where I was starting to become aware and aware of politics as I grew older. It became aware to me that somebody was lying, and somebody in the Clinton administration was actively lying. I'm sure of it.
Are you threatening me?
We go on to August of that year. The House Banking Committee, that was chaired by Republican Jim Leach of Iowa, finished an examination and found no illegalities. Folks, if this isn't starting to come together for you as to why we always tell you that there's only one party, think about it. Grand jury charged James and Susan McDougal and Arkansas Governor Jim Guy Tucker with bank fraud relating to these questionable loans. Now, why weren't they charging Bill Clinton with bank fraud in relating to these questionable loans? Well, he was governor longer and during the beginnings of these questionable loans. You're going to charge Guy Tucker with it. Well, Guy Tucker got passed it by Bill Clinton. So what? Come on, folks. What's going on here?
The fuck you bullshitting me for?
Oh, this is after our great Bill Clinton. That's the way they wanted to paint it. Well, America couldn't possibly make a mistake like that.
Ah, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders!
Bill Clinton's too good of a guy. We go on. In October of 1995, the Senate Whitewater Committee issued another 49 subpoenas to federal agencies and others involved within the affair. They knew that something was going on. Somebody wasn't telling the truth. Now, the White House Associate Counsel William H. Kennedy III, who worked at the Rose Law Firm, refuses to release the subpoenaed notes of a 1993 meeting between administration officials and the president's lawyers about Whitewater. Refused to release it. The Senate voted along party lines to enforce the subpoena. Now, the next day, the White House drops its claim to attorney-client privileges and released the notes. They prove vague and do not reveal any illegality, but contain the phrase vacuum rose law files, WWDC docs subpoena. What does that mean, folks?
No, I didn't hear this.
I'll tell you what it means. It means that they didn't want people to see it. They prepared it that way. It was just another, hold on a minute. Let me change this stuff that puts us in trouble so that nobody knows.
Democrats for you.
And in January of the next year, Hillary Clinton's billing records from the Rose Law Firm were found on a table in the White House residence book room after 2 years. All of a sudden, they just found it. Clinton aide Carolyn Hoover said she found the bills in August of 1995, but didn't realize their significance until coming across them again. Now, the documents included copies of bills for Hillary Clinton's legal work, showing she performed 60 hours of legal work for Madison in 1985 and 1986. In the contemporary and a commentary that was entitled "A Blizzard of Lies," the New York Times columnist William Safire described Hillary Clinton as a congenital liar. Okay? White House Press Secretary Michael McCurry said if the Clintons were not president, he would have delivered a more forceful response to that column on the bridge of Mr. Safire's nose, he said. This is so this is the White House Press Secretary that came out and threatened a New York Times columnist because he pretty much came out and said what she was, a liar. You're a liar. And she is, folks. You know she is. That's how they keep their jobs so long, is lying.
Holy shit, motherfucking Yoda and shit.
Republicans suggested that billing documents may have been withheld from their investigation to disguise how much work Hillary Clinton had done for the Madison Guarantee, and the White House said, oh no, she only did 60 hours worth of work. It seems to me that when she's requesting power of attorney privileges to clean up Whitewater things, that's going to take a little bit more than 60 hours in a year. I'm sorry, folks. That's not how it works. And that's the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard. You can't tell me that you only did 60 hours worth of work for this firm in a year. Oh, that's it. You're so involved with them, you lost $40,000 investing with these people, but yeah, you only did 60 hours worth of legal work for them.
What the hell was that?
You're not going to try and do due diligence on legal work to help recoup your own finances.
That's whatever you were talking about for you.
I don't know. I'm sorry, folks. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a simple son of a bitch. But if I invest some money and the people I invest my money with say, hey, we kind of need your expertise in this area to help out so we can start procuring some profits, I'm going to do my damnedest. I'm not going to put 60 hours in a year.
Oh, you made a wise choice, my friend.
I'm going to do my damnedest. That's my money. I don't care if I got $10 billion. That's my money.
Wait, me, you can't take me. I beat you like a redheaded stepchild.
They tell me one person out there that wouldn't invest some and say, hey, if I can't, and the investing company comes to us and says, hey, can you help? So we can, help make some money? Tell me that one person's going to go, no, I'd rather just lose 40 grand. There ain't one person out there.
Unfucking-leavable. It's staggering.
If you go on to March 4th, 1996, folks, still in January, Hillary Clinton testifying before a grand jury about the discovery and content of the billing records. Now, this is ridiculous. Kenneth Starr had subpoenaed Hillary Clinton earlier, just 4 days before that, in a criminal probe to determine if records were intentionally withheld. Now, this is the first time that a wife of a sitting president was ever subpoenaed. She got up there and she had to testify before the grand jury. Whitewater trial of Arkansas Governor Jim Guy Tucker, who Democrat of all, and the McDougalls began in Little Rock on March 4th. Move on to April 22nd. David Hale, the former owner of a government lending company that had pled guilty to 2 felonies, testified at the Whitewater trial that in early 1985, then Governor Bill Clinton pressured him to make a fraudulent $300,000 loan to Susan McDougal and asked that his name be kept out of the transaction. David Hale came along and said, hey, this motherfucker's just as involved in it too. But, of course, that kind of got pushed to the side because 6 days later, Clinton testified on videotape as a defense witness for just over 2 hours. He denied Hale's charge, and Bill Clinton, by God, I didn't do it. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Move on to a month later, folks. Governor Tucker and the Magoos are convicted of nearly all the fraud and conspiracy charges Starr lodged against them the 10 months earlier. The White House acknowledged that during 4 months in late 1993, it wrongly collected FBI background reports on hundreds, including prominent Republicans. This is why they decided they had to make it legal now. See, it's all tying together, folks. They're learning from their mistakes as they go along. They don't know any better what they're doing. They're full blind, leading the blind. And the sheep that are following them are following them right down the road to hell.
I'm tired of being the trail donkeys, acting like you some one-man GPS.
They admitted in 1993. Oh, well, we wrongly collected these background reports on people. Hundreds of people, prominent Republicans. Nobody important. Director of Personnel Security Craig Livingstone later took responsibility. So, in other words, the liberal machine, liberal socialist communist machine, come up and say, "Hey, you're going to take the fall." And when these guys go to take the fall, here's what I'm wondering: they are supposedly sentenced to some of these guys sentenced to criminal and prison time. Do they actually go to prison? Or do they say, they get a deal made beforehand saying, hey, you take the fall for this, we're going to say we're sending you to prison, but we'll send you and your family to an island in the Bahamas and nobody will ever see you.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Huh? Do you think? Is that out of the realm of possibility, or am I just going too crazy for you? I wouldn't put anything past any of these people. They have enough money to do this shit. June 17, 1996, the second Whitewater trial began. Arkansas bankers Herbie Branscombe Jr. and Robert Hill were accused of illegally using bank funds to reimburse themselves for political contributions, including contributions to Clinton's gubernatorial and presidential campaigns. My goodness. How deep does this, they just wanted to run for president for free. They wanted to run for governor for free. Well, their buddies wanted them to. Here, I'm going to donate to you, but now I'm going to take money out of this bank funds to reimburse myself. So now I get to claim it on my taxes and make it double pay. Pow! Genius, right? Wrong, because the Senate Whitewater Committee finished its investigation. Republicans and Democrats remain divided in their respective reports on whether or not the Clintons committed any ethical breaches. You move on to July of that year, and President Clinton again testified on tape for the second Whitewater trial. This was all hyped up. I remember arguing with my mother-in-law, who's a hardcore Democrat, about this, and said, he's a liar. He's lying to you. My goodness. Now, despite being convicted already, convicted, in May, coming up July 15th, so here we are, almost a month later. Governor Tucker finally resigns as governor of Arkansas. So he's convicted and gets to be governor for now. Why isn't he in jail?
Something stinks like stale French fries.
Because when you're an elected official, you don't have to go to jail. I think that's pretty much it. Go on to July of that 18th. President Clinton's videotape testimony from July 7th is aired at the trial. Now, in it, Clinton denies naming the two defendants to unsalaried state posts in exchange for contributions to his 1990 gubernatorial campaign, but they were.
Sounds like Nicholas Dick!
Now, in a major setback for Starr's investigations on August 1st, Branscombe and Hill were cleared on 4 counts of bank fraud by a federal jury, which deadlocks on 7 other charges. So, 4 of them they were cleared, but they were deadlocked on, they were split on the other ones. No evidence of jury tampering there at all. There's no possibility of that, would there be? No, not at this point in time. This investigation's been going on for, 3 years now? People have died over it? But, there's no way. They're starting to throw, when they started bringing up Branscombe and Hill, that's when they started to throw these, the bait fish, is what I like to call them. These guys are out there just as a distraction. The liberal and the government's really good at distracting, offering up points of distraction. And when they use the media, now they own the media too. They when they use that, it's distraction on a grand scale. Look over here at my right hand, while my left hand's over here doing something you shouldn't see.
Don't tell anybody I'll kill you!
To get this, it takes up until August before former Governor Tucker is sentenced. And he receives a suspended 4-year sentence. Suspended! After his doctor testified that he would likely die of liver disease if in prison. Because, of course, he's placed under home detention and fined $319,000, excuse me. They're just gonna let him die of liver disease if he goes to jail. I'm sorry, but that falls under the cruel and unusual punishment amendment that the state cannot, if you're imprisoned, the state cannot let you die of a disease in there if they know you already have it, especially if you have it when you're imprisoned. So they're, oh, well, he's going to die in there. You should have thought about that before you robbed all these people. You should have thought about that before you decided to be a criminal on the taxpayer's dime. Go into jail and you made your bed, lie in it. I'm sick of this. You gotta, this could happen. We gotta blame somebody else. We gotta blame this. Susan McDougal got sentenced for 2 years in prison for her role in obtaining an illegal loan. Just in obtaining an illegal loan for the Whitewater venture. She had considered cooperating with prosecutors, says she didn't trust them on September 4th of that year. And she entered jail for contempt of court rather than to testify in front of a grand jury because she knows somebody's going to bump her out. September 23rd of 96, the FDIC Inspector General's report includes Hillary Clinton drafted a real estate document that Madison Guaranty Savings and Loans used to deceive federal regulators in 1986. She wrote it.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
She wrote the fake one. This isn't enough to put this woman in jail already. The General Accounting Office reports that independent counsels investigating President Clinton and his administration have spent more than $25 million. Kennesaw alone spent more than $17 million as of September in 1996. Because you have to keep throwing money when these people have unlimited funds, taxpayer dollars that they can use against you. You've got to start spending up into the millions just to counteract them, or else they shut you up. Nowadays, it's even worse than it was 12 years ago.
Yeah, hold on there, hold on. You got to give me another shot at this.
Clinton's former campaign strategist for the 1992 elections, oh, guess who this is? James Carville. Announces plans to attack Starr and a partisan hatchet man with a right-wing agenda. Ah, this is where the propaganda comes in. They're just right-wingers. The vast right-wing conspiracy that Hillary Clinton's famous for saying on the Today Show. Okay, Starr's unexpectedly announces that he's going to leave his post as independent counsel in August to become the dean of Pepperdine University Law School in California. After much criticism, he reversed his decision 4 days later and resolves to keep his post until after the investigation is completed. Now, on a radio talk show in April of 97, Hillary Clinton denied that hush money was arranged for former law partner Webster L. Hubbell. She says Whitewater reminds her of some people's obsession with UFOs and the Hale-Bopp comet. That's right, folks. That's where they start going. These people are just crazy. Everybody's crazy. Everybody's crazy. 100 different stories from 100 different journalists and 100 different links to back it up. But everybody else is crazy, and you guys are all right. Yeah. That makes sense. James McDougal in 1997 was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his conviction on 18 fraud and conspiracy charges. How do you get convicted on 18 fraud and conspiracy charges and only get 3 years? Starr requested a reduced sentence for McDougal for assisting the prosecution. Oh, that's why. because he turned tail on them. Now, in April 1997, April 22nd exactly, the U.S. District Court extended the Whitewater grand jury's term 6 more months until November 7th, after Starr says he has extensive evidence of possible obstruction of justice. The 8th Circuit Court of Appeals overruled the lower court, saying that the White House must turn over subpoenaed notes to Starr. Now, the notes, for which the White House claimed attorney-client privileges, were taken by White House lawyers when investigators questioned the First Lady. The White House announced that it would appeal these decisions in May and subpoenaed the notes to the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court refuses to hear that appeal, and the White House has to turn over the notes come June. But, once again, this is a 2-month delay. Let's go over it, review it, and make sure that there's nothing in here that could possibly track us. The Washington Post in June once again reported that the Whitewater prosecutors have been questioning Arkansas state troopers about President Clinton's personal life, including possible extramarital affairs he may have had while an Arkansas governor. Starr's office concluded that in July of 1957, Starr's office came out and concluded that Vince Foster's death in 1993 was a suicide. It was not a suicide. I can't believe it. I can't believe that this man went out and killed himself. Now, Susan McDougal, who was being detained for contempt of court, was moved into a federal detention facility after 7 months in 2 Los Angeles jails, much of which she spent locked into a windowless cell 23 hours a day. The move comes a week after the American Civil Liberties Union filed a lawsuit alleging that McDougal was being held at Starr's request in barbaric conditions in an attempt to coerce her to testify. No, if you're put in jail, you get put into the cell. That's how it works. I ain't never been into a jail cell and the few times that I've been to jail, they had a damn window. So Kentucky, I don't know what, cry me a river.
Hold my drink, bitch.
Now, the General Accounting Office announced that Starr had spent over $25 million as of March of 1997. That's when they're making so much about how much they were spending trying to prosecute these slimy bastards that kept trying to weasel out of everything. Oh, you want these papers? Wait 2 months. Let me get my eraser.
Hey, don't take those, man.
Starr received permission in January of 1998 to expand his investigation into whether Clinton and his close friend Vernon E. Jordan Jr. encouraged a 24-year-old former White House intern to lie under oath about her alleged affair with the president. That's right. Who would that be, folks? James McDougal ends up dying just months before he's hoped to be released from prison. And the General Accounting Offices announced that Starr had spent up to $30 million by April of 1998. Now, Susan McDougal.
And here we go.
Finally serving her 2-year fraud sentence after completing her 18-month contempt of court sentence, refused yet again to testify before Starr's Little Rock grand jury. Now, Starr and deputies questioned Hillary Rodham Clinton 2 days later about Whitewater for nearly 5 hours at the White House. This is in April of 1998. The testimony is videotaped for the Little Rock grand jury. 5 days later, a new set of tax evasion and fraud charges is brought against Webster Hubble. Once again, so Clinton's throwing her buddies under the bus. Susan McDougal gets indicted on charges of criminal contempt and obstruction of justice. The federal judge dismisses the tax and fraud charges against Hubble and criticizes Starr for going on the quintessential fishing expedition. This is not a quintessential. This is the name that Hillary Clinton fed to him. They tried to lead this web of lies down a road, and eventually it's going to lead to somebody one way or another. But the names they kept giving, it just wouldn't end up making sense. So Starr brings back a 3rd indictment against Hubble in November of that year, this one alleging lies to Congress and federal banking regulators. November 19th, 1998, the impeachment trial of Bill Clinton, the first day of the impeachment hearings, Starr actually clears President Clinton in relation to the firing of the White House travel office workers in 1993 and the improper collection of FBI files revealed in 96. He also says that his office is drafting an impeachment referral stemming from Whitewater in 97, but decided not to send it because the evidence was insufficient. Where am I going with this today, folks? What am I after? What's my end game with explaining all this to you? This establishes just a little bit of behind-the-scenes character of the Clintons. There's talk about Hillary running in 2016 after what she just did with Benghazi, the major foul up with it. We want this woman running the country. She will never run this country unless she's made the succeeding dictator. That's all there is to it. Her transcript from the Clinton, from the testimony on Benghazi is absolutely disgusting.
Have you lost your mind?
It was nothing but a pandering and saying, oh, well, we're going to do this. We're challenging our United States and our partners in North Africa. She went on to talk about Mali. She was setting up the steps for us to go to Mali. Why we're there. She's already trying to defend why we're there. The fact of the matter is we're there for resources. We're there for domination. We're there to invade and continue perpetual war. We don't start taking these people at their word for what they're saying. I mean, good Lord. What's it going to take? Look at all the shady stuff that this woman's been involved in for years and years and years and years, and we expect to get something honest out of these people? You expect to get something truthful out of them? She says, I'll take responsibility. Then take responsibility, Hillary Clinton, and start serving some time. It's time to pony up. People need to start getting some asses kicked for this shit. It's old. People are dying. Our soldiers are over dying in wars we have no business being involved in. Our consulate members are getting killed over this crap because we're invading foreign countries that we have no reason to go invade in.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
We don't have the money to go and invade in. That's why we need 11 million new taxpayers. Folks, it's all part of one big twisted puzzle, and their pieces are slowly falling into place. When the conspiracy theorists start becoming right about everything, you know you're in trouble. All you sheep out there need to wake up and realize that, hey, we've been sitting here waving our arms going, the house is on fire, and you're looking at us like deer in the headlights.
Listen here, you beautiful bitch. I'm about to fuck you up with some truth.
Like I said before, folks, it's like watching 200 million people run headfirst into a brick wall at 90 miles an hour. No matter how many stoplights and stop signs and screaming people you say have going, stop, stop, stop. They just look at you and go, this will not stand. We will not take it anymore. We have to stand up, and we have to get it across to the rest of our people. Hey, quit electing these professional criminals, because that's what they are in Washington anymore, folks. Professional criminals. They have no interest for the common man, for any being. But once again, we're going to be on Freedomizer Radio, Guerrilla Radio tonight with Austin Thomas and the Liberty Lisa on Freedomizer.com, or you can get them on Blog Talk Radio. Follow the links to Freedomizer Radio and you'll find them. I'm going to be on there tonight. I'm going to watch my language. I will not say fuck, I promise. And I can say all I want to say all I want on my show. What's your language in front of the lady? The fact of the matter is, folks, we're going to get it up, and we hope to see you. Hope everybody tunes in tonight on that, and we'll see you tomorrow here on The Last Voice for Liberty Network.
When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. The utmost manifestation of love and devotion to America is today, as it always has been, resistance of tyranny.